in this position, and before we start, I'm gonna hint out a few things. Now, first of all, one of the more obvious ideas is that, of course, we want to take White's bishop, right? Of course, White is not gonna let us take his bishop, and we can see that because if we take the bishop, our e6 rook simply has two attackers and only one defender. So then, after White takes, he or she will emerge an exchange ahead, and again, that will not work, and he has a winning position too. And the second thing I want to acknowledge is this little pin on this tiny diagonal, with our queen pinning the knight to the queen. So, okay, I've hinted that out, and we are gonna use that little pin that I just hinted out to solve this puzzle. So again, we can notice that this bishop is like our bait, right? It's our food that we want. And I'm just gonna point out the correct starting move. Knight to d6. First of all, it increases pressure from our rook to the bishop. And second of all, it also adds pressure with our knight and the queen attacking the c4 knight. So in this position, well, the only really good move White has is knight to d2. After all, there is no other safe move for the knight to go without, endangering the queen. Like, for example, this move saves the knight, but drops the queen, other than the move knight to a5, and that is not right. Not because it gives up the knight, okay? That is a very important idea. Not because White can play knight to a5, he can risk it. And it's kind of such a trap for us, because if we take that knight thinking that we just want a free knight, well then this next pin, or a skewer, is queen takes e6, a fork, and boom. You went from totally winning to totally losing with a probable checkmate in the next 10 or 15 moves. So again, don't take the knight, and instead the correct move is just to simply trade queens, calmly trade queens, and take away the tension between the queens. And then capture the bishop and emerge one bishop ahead. And of course, the line that we just saw happens with knight to d2 too. We trade queens, removing the tension. And then and then rook takes bishop, and we win with the bishop ahead. Now, one more move is that, well, White cannot defend his knight, because then remember, all the way back here, I hinted you that the pin of these two rooks on our one rook was what was taking us from taking the bishop in the first place. And then once one of those rooks leave, there is no more pin because our queen is guarding the rook one time, although of course two rooks was too much for the queen to defend. But now that now one of the rooks has moved away, like we don't have to go through all that stuff with the knight again. We can just simply capture the bishop with the pawn or the rook and emerge with a bishop ahead.